Right, Dr. Duncan traded me some tomato bisque for some ice cream and butter. Wow. Oh, and they're homegrown tomatoes. Those are good. Dang, these tough one grazing mussels don't last very long. They're not very tough. This only lasted like a month and it started ripping. First of all, they get thin, so they press them on the ground and just grind them into the ground, trying to get as much plants as they can get up through their little reduced grazing hole. So it started wearing thin like it is right there at the bottom, but more so up there until it actually ripped. And I tried sewing it up, and that only lasted a couple days, sewing it up with floss. And then I tried sewing it up and adding the liquid nails under it, but liquid nails is not made for rubber, so it looks like it's not going to work much longer than just having the floss. It'll help protect the fibers a little bit. But so I cut off. I'm about to make some more doormat sandals because my doormat sandals have had it. Look at this. Got a hole in the bottom. These lasted a little bit longer than 6 months. I was wearing these last year and I just got them back out here this summer. So this has lasted me last summer and half this summer, about 6 months. That's pretty good because regular shoes only last me 6 months, if that. I'm like lucky if I can get 6 months out of commercial shoes. So yeah, this edge, this little strip along the edge, I cut that off and used these pop rivets that I use to bind my roof sheets together. Corrugated plastic. This is called a pop rivet gun. It's actually a really cool, useful tool that allows for you to bind things. Similarly to zip ties and duct tape, how it's just so universally applicable and useful. But zip ties have their own set of ideal uses and duct tape have their own ideal sets of uses. This has its own third set of uses that is really awesome for filling in the gap for this type of stuff. So now I have this covered up and abrasion resistant. All right, I got this little blender. It's freaking awesome. It was only 30 bucks, 20 bucks off Amazon. And Sergey here gave me a pumpkin that I am eating the center out of. Seeds and everything, I just chopped them up in there. And sprouts. I've started sprouting again. I used to kraut and sprout and kefir. And then when I started kefiring, I stopped krauting as much and definitely stopped sprouting. Preserve the rest of it. Awesome. The weird tasting. Not bad. Not really good, but not bad. So easy to down though. Smoothies rock. Good. Make felted sleeves, evaporative cooler sleeves for my kraut and my sprouts. Made one for my kefir yesterday. My kefir. And I'm off ice cream. I quit ice cream. Oh God, I had to quit ice cream. That was gonna make me sick. It was gonna make me sick in the same way that like 6 months ago, I made myself sick from having 2 U's, and that was a year ago. When I had the 2 U's in milk again, because my whole problem is that I have had such a difficulty in maintaining the staggered breedings, appropriate staggered breedings of my ewes, so that I only have 1 in milk, so that I have enough, just enough to drink, and I don't have such surplus, and I have that condition, that setup all year round. And yeah, I haven't been doing that because my ram is defeating my ram aprons that I make for him. So I've made them 2 ram aprons and they've been too lightweight, and so I guess he's been able to like push it out of the way or something like that. So I had to quit ice cream because it was starting to make me sick, like busting my gut eating so much of it. I wasn't eating as much of it as 1.5 gallons of milk that I was, and kefir that I was over consuming last year. But I was eating regular 1 or 2 meals a day. I rarely eat 2 meals a day, and like up to a half a gallon of ice cream, maybe 3/4 of a gallon a couple days. It was ridiculous. Last year I was consuming 6,000 calories a day, and I'm not big. I'm 125 pounds, and 6,000 calories. That's a gallon and a half of sheep milk. Is 6,300 calories, and I was drinking that every day for like a month, and it busted my gut, busted my system. I mean, like, I wasn't able to eat much else because that's all I had. And the reason I was doing that is because it was going to waste. I was having to feed it the chicken otherwise, and so I couldn't find anyone that wanted to buy it consistently. And so yeah, this is a serious thing that people, I think that people need to know, is that if you're going to get a dairy pets, you got to really get these ram aprons worked out. We got to get some heavy duty ram aprons, because Missy here is she got rebred like days after she lambed, and Annie here, she had like maybe 2 heats. Like she got rebred on like the first pseudo heat, like when they're coming back into normal hormonal balance after lambing. Sometimes they'll have like a pseudo heat right away, like within the first week, but usually it's a couple weeks before they have their first heat, if not a month. And Annie there had 2 heats, so she's like, and she's bred, so she stopped having heats after that. So she probably, I'd say, just guesstimating, 2 months pregnant. And Missy here is gonna be due probably next month. So I dread up Missy about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. I've been only milking them once a day for months now, because I again, this lactation, having 2 ewes and milk, has been so much that I could not juggle, and I did not want to get in a situation where I was encouraged to drink too much milk again. I don't let myself drink or consume over a half gallon a day is what my rule was after that last gallon and a half day gut busting episode. To heal that, I fasted and waited like 2 weeks to even take a sip of, maybe it was like 3 weeks before I even like took a drink, and then it was like, okay, well, I can have like a cup, and I did that for a couple weeks, and then I can have a pint, and I did that for a couple weeks to a month. That's where I'm at right now with my milk juggling. Oh, I forgot about a minute. Oh, they're not jammy. Darn, I overcook eggs every single time. I don't know why. At least my pork is probably done really well. It's from a farmer down the road, but I don't know if they're organic. So you gotta cook your pork. I don't know if they're like, I don't know what their operation is like. Animals that eat closer to the ground have higher parasite loads. So chickens, they scratch and dig down in the dirt. There's more microbes down in the dirt than there is up on the tips of the blades of grass, where the sheep tend to, and goats especially. That's why I don't film most of my food, because it's usually like this. But usually if I have a farmer's meat, I try to dress it up. Traded like a 1/4 gallon of milk for I don't know, 2. I squished this in half and pulled the meat out, and then pulled that blob into 2. So I'm getting like probably 3 meals out of it, because I'm not going to be able to finish this. And this is going to be 2 meals. The other one's going to be 2 meals too. So 4 meals of pork I traded for a quart of milk, which is like nothing. I'm getting quarts of milk all day. Quart of milk though is 1,000 calories. Yes, it is. A quart of your milk is 1,000 calories. That's crazy. It's actually really calorically dense. How is your meal going? Your second meal. They barf up their first meal, and it's called cud, and then they chew on it again, and then swallow it. Good shit. Good dog, you. Good shit. Good dog, you. Sheep. Good donkey. Good donkey. Sheep. My friend's neighbors have this dwarf mulberry tree, and mulberries are my favorite. Absolute favorite. The only thing is there's dang sand on the ground. As soon as they fall on the ground, the sand adheres to them and you can't get it clean. It's just fine enough. And these bushes are claiming the rest. So the only fair ground game I have is on top of the mailboxes. For clean ground scored mulberries. Mailbox scored mulberries. Her mask is ripping. I've tried to mend it with doormat scrap. Now I'm going to try some corrugated plastic. I'm going to sandwich this. Oops. Alright, let's see how this works. See how long it lasts. Made a fly swatter and fixed my donkey's grazing mask, and I'm about to make some sandals. And I need to check up on my cheeses. I haven't checked up on them in 3 days, something like that. They're all older though, they don't need to be flipped. There they go. Yeah, these have started to blue moldish. Alright, let's see if that holds in the moisture. I love the unlimited levels of fermentation that happens with kefir. This is just like barely. This is from the morning's milk. I cleaned off the grains, poured in a quart of my sheep's milk, Annie's milk, and it hasn't started souring yet, and it's still sweet, but it's cultured, so it's like milk that has like a bunch of flavor in it without being sour. And it actually brings out the sweetness more after the microbes have had a chance for several hours to munch on the carbs. I mean, technically there's less sugars in here available to be tasting sweet to me, but yeah, somehow it like breaks it down and unmasks and makes more bioavailable the and quicker hitting the lactose, I guess, on my tongue. Because that definitely tastes sweeter than it does when it's fresh. I love it. It's hard to catch it at this window though. I want to start a new like meme challenge thing. For people who don't have a yard and they don't think that they can have a garden, they can have a jar garden, because that's basically what this is. You're growing and eating your sprout vegetables. It's just a much quicker turnover. So the whole challenge would be actually collecting, sprouting, preparing, and eating, because I'm just eating. Not quite as special, and share it on social media. It's a foot in the door for people to feel connected with their food and with their own being. Better. We could all do better. And a jar garden is a easy place for anyone to start, even if you live in a homeless shelter and all that they're serving you is crap. You might be able to get one of these in jail too. Man, oh my gosh, that would be so therapeutic for people who are in jail to be able to have a relationship with like a whole process having to do with their food, whereas we're so compartmentalized. If that, on experiencing where our food comes from. But just experience like a whole, from planting to growing to preparing into their jail ramen noodles. I bet that would really make them feel better on the inside. Obviously it would make them feel better on the inside because it's so healthy. Beautiful. I start wrapping them all like this in leaves, and then I can stack like 4 or 5 high. 1, 2, 3. You're gonna have a space over here that you can load them vertically, like that. Let's see how many are gonna go in here. 1, 2, just 2. So we'll fit 6 at the end, and 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 times 5 though. 9 times 5 is 45. 45 cheeses plus the 6 on the end. I can fit over 50 cheeses in this new fridge. Oh my gosh, if I wrapped them like this, or if I made them all dry cheeses like this, that their rind is their protective layer. I like these. That's cool. I'm gonna make all of my cheeses like that and see if I can fill this up. Frickin' not have to use these. I'm not gonna make those softer bee linen cheeses. I'm just gonna make harder cheeses. I didn't put any wild onion seeds in here, but I put a little bit of grated onion and garlic, and then I sprayed it down with apple cider vinegar. Thank you, God. And finishing salts. Oh, finishing salts make everything good. Oh, smoked sheep cheese with slightly peppered background from the broccoli sprouts and onions. Actually, you know what? I could use a little bit more. I think I need to refill my little bottle, my spritzer. And it could use a little bit more finishing salts. No. Finish it all up. They're so light that they're not too salty. More texture. Fluffy salt. Chef salt. Thank you, God. Oh my God, what am I thinking? I forgot Sandra and Dr. Duncan gave me a bunch of tomatoes. Now that's a salad. Thank you, God. I want seconds. It's too good.